Benefits tax-wise for owning your own business. Perfect example is I just went to a tax convention. When I first started my tax company, I put my children on as the board of directors. So as you know, in any organization, if you have a board of directors, you guys have to have monthly meetings and different things like that, where you document what you talk about, what's going on in the business. With that being said, I took them to the tax conference with me. We went to the tax conference in Dallas. We also rented a car and drove down to Oklahoma to visit my son. He's on the board of directors also. During that time, we did some team bonding events where we went to trampoline parks. Mm-hmm. We went to drive go-karts. So those are all tax deductions and tax write-offs because initially it's helping build that business. So from the plane to the Ubers to the food to the tax conference, as far as just the ticket, all of those things are tax deductions. So if you structure your LLC the right way, you document your expenses the right way, then essentially you can be able to travel with your family for the business.
It ain't gonna come if you ain't trying to go get it. I fell in love with a vision. When completed the mission, I proceed cause I'm driven. Slipped and fell a couple times, that's what I needed. I'm tripping.
Welcome back to Inspired by You podcast. Today I'm sitting down with Jovanna Wright. She's a tax professional, a mompreneur, an author, and a business mentor. So your list of endeavors and services seems to be forever growing. What are some of your main lines of business?
So we got the tax planning, business services, where I help people start their business. Mm-hmm. So as far as starting their LLCs, getting their EIN numbers, understanding about the DUNS number, helping them build their business credit, build their business portfolio. Tax training, where I help other mompreneurs start a tax business, and then business mentorship and coaching.
Okay, that's quite the list there. Like, it seems like you've been staying busy too, I'm sure.
Definitely.
So oftentimes Black individuals and families are like fighting a lot of generational curses. One being kind of lack of financial literacy. Did anybody in your family you feel like knew like kind of all this stuff, or did you really start learning on your own?
Start learning on my own. Once I enrolled in IUSB, where, as you know, there's just a different background of different cultures, societies. Everybody wasn't raised the same. So I started noticing how important financial literacy was in other cultures and households. So I took it upon myself to self-educate myself, put myself into different seminars, different personal development where I could learn financial literacy.
And I guess as a mom, how are you changing, this narrative when it comes to your kids?
So I started my children at an early age understanding savings bonds, how to save, how to open a checking account and savings account. We budget out their, allowance, or I should say the things that I do within the household, they assist me with. So one child will help with the grocery list, so that way he understands how to stay on budget. My daughter will help with the Dollar General list, so that way she understands how to stay in budget as far as the household supplies and different things like that. I have conversations with them about how much it costs to be us. I think that's very important for us to have those conversations with our children so they understand finances before they're even, out on their own. As far as my older children, I got them situated and established by starting them out with understanding how to purchase stocks. They know the difference between stocks and annuities. Everybody has different shares in different companies. And then I also put them onto my credit cards at an early age, so that way it can help raise their credit scores. So now both of my older children have credit scores over 700.
Nice. I noticed too, one thing that stuck out to me was when you said that when you have your kids help, and you said he helps with the grocery list. I think that's key, because there's a lot of men that don't even know how to make they just show it. You got to send them with a detailed list, or they can't even, pick certain things out at the store. So those are good, I think, traits to pass on to your kids, and even, the stocks and things like that, and just opening them up to a different world from what probably some of their friends even are, exposed to. So you've come quite a long way too with just everything that you've done. And so let's take it back a little bit. So hopefully I'm getting this story right. So in 2010, you end up laid off from your 10-year career as a medical assistant.
Yep, I was a surgery assistant at St. Joe.
Okay, and then you're a single mom, you have 4 kids. Okay, so walk me through how you ended up like where you are now, in a sense. Like, how did you come out of that?
Okay, so as you stated, I'm a mother of 4. I have a 27-year-old, 20-year-old, 16-year-old, and 17-year-old. I'm telling you the age range so that way you can kind of see, you know, how the family dynamics is. My younger 2 children, father ended up getting incarcerated when they were babies. So I became a single mom at the age of, well, they were 1 and 2, basically. So at that point in time, we had to kind of pull together and have that mindset that we're all we got. You know, I didn't want to end up like, you know, their father and go down that road. So I had to change my situation, my mindset, to know that it was greater in me. And if I didn't change the way that I was living, that I could potentially be watching my older son, who's 20, playing basketball from a jail cell, literally. So with that mind frame, it's like, okay, I got to figure this thing out, you know, for all of us. So I was always good at saving. So I took my son Jaquan's college tuition that I was saving for. It was about $5,000. And I needed to get my taxes done. And I had went to a little mom and pop shop tax service. And I kind of saw how that business was ran. I'm a numbers person. So as I got to doing the numbers, I thought about the amount of money that was coming in and the low risk. So I prayed and asked God if he can give me something that was lucrative to where it wasn't a risk as far as my freedom. So I started the tax business in 2010 after I got laid off I was laid off in 2010, so I started the tax business in 2012. As I stated, I needed my taxes done, saw how that was, and just kind of took that same game plan and added my own spice to it. While I was at IUSB, I was taking marketing and just general education classes, trying to figure it out. So with that whole game plan, I started taking more marketing classes, and with my last name being Right Way, I thought that, okay, well, that can be kind of catchy as far as a business name. So that's how Right Way to Go Tax Service was kind of created. From there, we were on a corner shop in South Bend on the corner of Miami. A majority of my family was from the southeast side of town, so the fact that I was opening up a tax business on that side of town, word of mouth, foot traffic, I was a beast at marketing. I started doing billboards, radio commercials, TV commercials, just like really putting my foot forward with the marketing. We would even take flyers and go door to door, me and my children. So it was literally a family hustle. So then we fast forward kind of to where we are now. I moved to Indianapolis in 2018 because I had to expand my territory. I felt like I needed to move a little further than from what I knew. So we moved there, and I literally invested into a trucking company, and the mentor was not a good mentor. So if I can say anything, make sure that you find out the real about your mentor. Do the background, do the research on them to make sure that they're legit. So from there, the mentor wasn't legit. I ended up going bankrupt. So here I am in Indianapolis with 4 kids, just kind of moved up there, put all my eggs in one basket. And now here I am with a failing business. No savings, literally.
The tax business is still doing...
Definitely. So, but you know, it's seasonal.
Yeah.
So at that point in time, trying to navigate the flow of the peak seasons. So you have to have something else coming in throughout the year, because as we know, tax season is only from January to April. So that's why I was banking on the trucking company. And my mindset was always open up 4 businesses since I have 4 children, attach each child to that business. So that way, if there was something that ever happened to me, everybody would already have their own stream of income coming in. So I had to actually go into my 401k to save the trucking business, and then also initially save my family. So with that, I just started moving differently, praying a lot more, getting in tune with who I was spiritually, mentally, and just understanding what my passion and purpose is. I love being a mom. I tell my children every single day how much I love them, and that basically we are all we got. I mean, literally even the older one, the 27-year-old, I have to talk to them every single day. So as I stated, I have 4. My 20-year-old, you're a mom, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Of how many?
I just have 2,
okay.
almost 9-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Okay. So at the age of 5, this boy was infatuated with the basketball. So I knew that he had a gift. So we started chasing that basketball dream at the age of 5. So now if we fast forward to where he is today, he is at Oklahoma State playing Division I basketball. He's a junior, hoping to enter the draft next year. So I saw something special in him and I wanted to chase that dream with him. So that was part of the drive as well. So we still have the trucking company currently going on, where now that's kind of like just residual income. I'm not as hands-on. I don't need to be. I'm more focused on my mentorship. I believe that my passion and my purpose is to help people, to show people each and every day that you can completely turn your life around, reinvent yourself, and become a better person. So that's what I kind of push forward every single day. So that's kind of...
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great story. And man, some of it I didn't even know. I'm like, dang, okay. Like, yeah, no, that's super, like, just dope to see, I guess, all of that, I'm sure, manifest and come out, where you are now, whether that's, just you or even like seeing your kids' dreams manifest as well.
Yeah.
So I guess in every tough situation, there's kind of a lesson. So at some point in this journey, your like identity gets taken as well, right? Mm-hmm. Man, so what did you end up, I guess, learning from that situation?
Oh, yeah, you did your research, huh? You can't be as trustworthy as you think you can be. So it had me put on an extra layer of protection on not only my identity, my children's identity. Just not being, like I said, so understanding everybody's vision and journey is not the same. So what I might want for you or think I see in you, technically you might not have evolved to be that person yet. So I just have been putting on those just the extra line of protection and just kind of vetting my relationships a little bit closer and not being so trustworthy, honestly. So now I help people start their own tax business. I don't allow people to work for me just because of that.
Sense.
Yeah.
I was going to say too, I wonder if, that situation happened when it did and not further down the line as, like things started to get, I guess, even more big than they are now.
Yeah. It still was a everlasting, feeling, those are relationships that are, from that point on severed forever, so it takes a lot of growth. It takes a lot of healing. And more than anything, it taught me about forgiveness.
Nice. So I guess which I know, but why are credit scores important, and what are some, I guess, realistic tips that somebody can implement right now to start to build strong credit or to repair like bad credit?
Okay, very good question. You can actually leverage your personal credit to buy you can buy real estate with credit as long as your credit score is where it needs to be. You can get cheaper APR rates for your vehicles as long as your credit score is where it needs to be. Credit is queen, as I say. It's more valuable, in my opinion, than cash. I just went through the process of purchasing a real estate property on straight credit cards. So with me being able to clean up my credit, understanding how personal credit can be leveraged and business credit, the opportunities are endless. You can get a vehicle in your, business credit, or personal credit, as long as that credit score is utilized or that credit portfolio is built up the right way. As far as tips, I would say definitely making sure that you pay attention to your credit score, your credit card utilization, making sure that you are not carrying over balances, that you are paying those balances down under 10%. I know everybody says 30%, but then your credit score is every month fluctuating. You want to kind of keep it at an easy average balance, in my opinion. So that's one of the things. Making sure that you're not applying for all those credit cards and getting 10% off here, 10% off there.
Grocery, like the store ones?
Yes, absolutely. Now, we should all have at least 3 cards, in my opinion, that we can use. one for a mini emergency, one for a regular emergency, and then one for daily usage. The one for daily usage, we're going to make sure that we have a credit card that kind of gives us reward points. So in order to get those type of cards, again, you got to keep that utilization down. You have to keep those inquiries down. You don't want to be, like we said, applying for different things, because they pay attention that if you got 3 or 4 inquiries in 1 week, it's looking to the bank like, hey, you thirsty, you trying to get a whole bunch of money, you know. So that's one of the things for sure. Payment history. If you don't do nothing else, you want to make sure that you pay the minimum due. You don't want to miss that payment, because then that is going to be reported on your credit score, and sometimes those are hard to reverse. So that's another tip for sure. And then also you want to make sure that your credit cards are aging properly. You don't want to close them prematurely. You want to make sure that even if you're not going to use it, you want to keep that one on there, because they look at the credit profile to see the ages of the credit cards on there. Like we said before, the late payment history, the credit card utilization, and then the inquiries.
Man, that's so true about like missing a payment. I had 100% like payment history, and then I lost my like debit card, and I forgot to update it on like my student loan account, and I missed one funky like $40 payment. It dropped my score 100 points.
Yes,
because I was, you know, high 700 club, and so it was like 99%, you know, payment history. It was like, Doc, I'm like, it took me like probably 6 or 7 months to even get back. I'm like, come on, man.
Yes, like, just that one.
Crazy, like literally. So like, you can't miss no pay. Like, you literally have to be 100% like on your payments for it to. I'm like, man, this is crazy. You have a tax mentorship program. So besides the price of your course, what are the startup costs for like a tax preparation business like?
It varies. It kind of depends on you and how far you want to go with the tax business. You can literally run a tax business with just a tablet and a phone if you want to. Because of the flexibility of the business, you don't necessarily need a brick and mortar. I believe that I benefit more from a brick and mortar, because I do better with my clients one-on-one, face-to-face. So I would prefer a brick and mortar. So something like a brick and mortar could possibly start at anywhere from, you know, $1,000 to $5,000. It kind of depends on where the location is, how much that rent is going to be, how much it's going to cost to furnish that actual location. I personally furnish mine from Goodwill, Dollar General, Family Dollar, little knickknacks and things like that. And then, like I said, everything just kind of started falling together. So it kind of really depends on you if you want to be mobile, where you can go to people's homes and then you just email them their documents, where you don't need a printer. So it just really kind of varies.
Yeah, I was thinking that it was probably like a lower, I guess, like startup cost. And maybe, what's like the barrier to entry? Like, is it kind of anybody could probably do it, or more so like you got to be good with numbers? You got to like,
in my opinion, you got to have a passion for it. Anybody can do taxes, honestly. As we know, you can do it on TurboTax and all the free softwares. I feel as though I bring a wealth of knowledge. I want to educate my moms. I prefer to do single moms. That way I can help them strategize that extra money that they have for the rest of the year. So I believe that if you're looking to do some tax planning, it's more beneficial to sit down with a tax preparer. You have to be ethical. You have to understand that I am helping somebody, I am providing a service. Do you have to be, there's no degree necessary, but just as I said, you got to have a passion for it. You know, you have to want to help people understand financial literacy. So that's also why I've joined other, you know, programs to kind of help push the financial literacy, push the budgeting, push the credit repair, understanding what it costs to be you. I think that's so important for people to understand that.
Yeah, definitely. Plus, like when you look at your income, it's probably better to like for somebody to look at it as their whole income. You know, like you said, credit score, like all of that really goes into and like really plays a big part in that. What are some benefits, I guess, tax-wise for owning your own business?
Benefits tax-wise for owning your own business. Perfect example is I just went to a tax convention. When I first started my tax company, I put my children on as the board of directors. So as you know, in any organization, if you have a board of directors, you guys have to have monthly meetings and different things like that, where you document what you talk about, what's going on in the business. With that being said, I took them to the tax conference with me. We went to the tax conference in Dallas. We also rented a car and drove down to Oklahoma to visit my son. He's on the board of directors also. During that time, we did some team bonding events where we went to trampoline parks. We went to drive go-karts. So those are all tax deductions and tax write-offs because initially it's helping build that business. So from the plane to the Ubers to the food to the tax conference, as far as just the ticket, all of those things are tax deductions. So if you structure your LLC the right way, you document your expenses the right way, then essentially you can be able to travel with your family for the business.
That makes a lot of sense. And I think people appreciate that. I feel like that's a gem. Another thing that I recently, I guess not super recently, but more recently, I've been seeing a lot of people say that you can hire your kids, I guess, as employees and pay them like up to $12,000 a year. I think
Absolutely.
When they're under 18 maybe,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
can you talk a little bit, I guess, about that?
Yep.
Because I don't think I'm as knowledgeable on it probably as you are.
Yep, so you are eligible for a tax write-off or deduction of $12,500 every year for each child that you hire. So just imagine all 4 children on the payroll times 4. So that's a huge tax deduction. You just have to make sure that you're documenting it again the right way. You're using the right payroll system. You're using ADP. You just have to have the right proper documentation. Hire them, give them a W-4, and then essentially when you do your payroll taxes, you'll get that tax break.
And because they're under 18 or because it's only $12,000, they don't have to pay taxes
Correct.
on that. Okay.
Yes,
so
because it's only that amount.
Yeah, so double, like.
Yes.
What's the best way, I guess, that somebody in their 20s or 30s could start paying off debt?
First, understanding what it costs to be them, because you can't work on debt if you're living paycheck to paycheck, right? So we have to know what that bottom line number is. From there, we have to create, if that regular job or that income that you have is only taking care of what it costs to be you, then we have to think outside the box. We might have to do Uber Eats. We might have to do Amazon Flex. We have to figure out a way to create another stream of income so that way that extra money that we have coming in can essentially attack the debt. My mindset is, if it's not there, it's not there. So how can I really work on my debt to income ratio if my income is not high enough? So I think of strategic ways to increase my income so that way I can use that money to go towards paying off my debt.
And make sure you're not taking that extra income and be like, oh, now I can go buy,
Yes.
such and such. And
Yes, stick to the plan. Stick to the plan, have a plan, stay focused, have an accountability partner, somebody that's on you about it, so that way you can, essentially achieve that goal.
I think too, like writing stuff down and like kind
Definitely.
of like you said, documenting, things correctly. If you writing it down and you look and you see and you can see yourself kind of crossing off these goals, and I think that's super helpful.
Yes, I actually have some freebies on my website that are downloadable monthly business expense sheets, and then also a monthly budget sheet as well. So every month we print that out. We go through and see, okay, how much money is that we have coming in and how much is it that we have going out. Whatever that extra is, if we want to pay some extra on that credit card or whatever the debt, might be for that month. And what if it's saving for a trip? That way you can allocate that money. But I totally agree that if you get you a good planner, which we have some of those as well on our website, just documenting it, writing it down, staying organized, I believe in Habakkuk 2:2. Write it down, write the vision down, make it plain. So if you consistently doing that every month, it's becoming a habit. It's embedded into your mindset. So essentially you will achieve that goal.
No, definitely. Kind of your words create your world, manifestation. No, definitely. So what are some, I guess, overlooked or maybe unconventional ways to, I guess, save some money?
So I would say possibly you have to understand what works for you. Certain things don't work for certain people. I myself personally, I can't have cash. I'm not disciplined enough to have cash. I'll take that $100, it'll be gone by the end of the day and I won't know what happened to it. Another way, in my opinion, to save is possibly putting in savings and putting in money orders. So what I did is I had some bills that I wanted to pay off. I wrote down that number, and every month I would put that money, or every week, just depending on how my money was flowing, I would put it into a money order, because then it's going to take me a couple extra seconds to think about cashing it. I got to go outside. You know, it's more involved in it. So I definitely would say whatever that amount is you're trying to save, put it in a money order, stash it, possibly do an envelope as well. Maybe if you have an accountability partner, somebody that you can trust, give that money to them so that way you don't have access to it. You have to make sure that you don't go into your triggers. So my triggers are like the fashion mall stores where there's stuff that I like. Mm-hmm. So during this time, if I am trying to save money, I am not going to go to those places, because what's going to happen? I'm going to be triggered and I'm going to have to figure it out later. So again, just understanding what's going to work for you. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. So this podcast, a lot of it is about being inspired by other people. And so the thought process behind it was that a lot of us either have somebody that we see growing up that's sort of doing what we want to do and we're inspired by that person, or we don't, and then we become sort of that for the next generation. Do you feel like you had somebody that kind of inspired you growing up, or?
Not necessarily. I would say once I became a single mom, understanding that I was all they had, that they were my why. So I had to figure out a way to break the status quo. I had to figure out a way to show them something totally different. So I feel as though that they're my whys. So they're my inspiration. They're the reason why I keep going every single day, no matter what. I want to make sure that my kids have a mom they can be proud of.
Oh, I love that. Anything else you want to say to the pod, to the people, and then where can people find you online?
Yep. I just want everybody to know, again, Habakkuk 2:2. Make sure you write the vision down and make it plain, make it doable. It's up to you to get you where you want to go. I want to thank you for having me. Your questions were phenomenal, for sure. You can catch me, or you can reach me on Facebook at Jovanna Wright, or on IG at Mompreneur. My website is www.rightwaytogo.com.
It ain't finished overnight. We done seen so many knives. We had to start from the bottom. We done heard so many lies, but we still made it this far. Even though they tried to stop us, I can't believe that we made it after they all started.